When you have a conversation with someone, may that be a coaching session or other conversation, do you take notes? And if you do, why? And I don't want to say that note taking is not helpful or is helpful. I think it's very context specific, but I think it's very important that we reflect a little bit on why we take notes. And the reason why this is coming up now is because recently a coach reflected on their note taking as a potential defense mechanism, right? They noticed a tendency to take a lot of notes so that they could justify that they were listening very well. So that was super interesting, right? So because they could look at their notes and then they felt like, I've done the job, right? So I can justify that I've done a good job because it's all here in front of me. I've listened very well. I can prove it. When by the very act of note taking, as well as you may do it, by definition, some of your energy, some of your presence goes into taking the note and writing the note. I became very good at keeping eye contact and capturing some key terms, and I still do it, right? But usually my notes don't exceed 20, 30 words. I really just want to capture some of the essence, or if there's a key thing that I wanted to ask about or a theme that popped up, if it's important, I can trust that I'll contain it, right? But sometimes I really don't want to break the flow. I don't want to jump in on it. And sometimes writing a word down so I know I can come back to it later in case it leaves my mind because I felt it was really important, but it was more important I don't interrupt. That really helps me to be fully present again, just because it's gone now. I've captured it and I can come back to it. With somebody who speaks very quickly and kind of opens so many different doors, for me, it's quite important that I take some notes because I can then see on paper how they connect and I can see themes in there and I can bring them back. I remember once the first time I was in my training and I started taking notes and I could beautifully see how this client would take me around in circles. And not only could I see it, but I actually then shared this with my client. And I said, this is so interesting. Look, we started here and then there and then there and then full circle and then full circle and then full circle. And so I had what seemed very chaotic notes, but they told a story of a very clear pattern, and that actually opened the right door that we needed to open. So that was really helpful example of note taking. But by the very act of note taking, you're taking some energy and presence away. So I don't like taking notes when I'm in person with someone because I can't do it blind. And whenever you write something down on some level, consciously or unconsciously, I think the other person may be wondering, what are they writing down? You don't want to give this idea of this person with a note tag who's diagnosing, So I think there's going to be curiosity. Ooh, what did my coach think was important here? What did they capture? What do they think about me? How do they interpret? So how do you handle notes? How do you contract around notes? Do you take them? Do you not take them? There's a lot to think about in note taking, and I don't think there's a right way of doing it. But the idea that I want to leave you with based on this conversation I've had is, might it be for you or might it be for something other than the benefit of the client? Because most notes I never look at again. Yeah. So why are you taking notes? That's the reflection I want to leave you with today.